Welcome back to the Fox Robbins Show. Great to have you back. We got an interesting show tonight that I'm sure you're going to like. I'm your host for the Fox Robbins Business Show. I'm Bill Fox, and the co-host is none other than Cliff Robbins.
Bill, how are you? Good to
Cliff,
see you.
the iridescent, effervescent, ever energetic, and you were talking about your super haircut. You look aerodynamic. You know?
I am. My wife says, I think you should be more business in appearance, cut that hair really short. So I did yesterday.
No, I think with
Actually, I'm trying to emulate you.
You're actually moving down the street faster because it's less wind drag.
Well, I want less wind drag because I don't know how you're sitting here with no shirt on. You notice I have a sweater on under my Fox Robbins.
Well, that's because you're
shirt.
probably, you're.
I'm cold. I'm cold. 13 degrees this morning.
Great to have you here this evening.
Good to be here.
As usual. And this show is all about developing your business ideas, your best business ideas. And as usual, this show is intended to talk about either upgrading existing businesses or starting brand new businesses and creating long-lasting career opportunities and higher paying jobs. Well, for everybody, but particularly young people, we need to balance the demographic.
Absolutely.
And get young people to stay here instead of disappearing to up to Boston or down to New York City or elsewhere. That there are great opportunities in this area that are here now and yet to come. And what we want to do is start off with our a typical feature of the Fox Robbins Show, which is the a section called Cliff's Notes. And in Cliff's Notes, we take advantage of the fact that our co-host is part of the Small Business Development Center's network here in New England. And as such, he travels around all the time. He's always moving around, and he's always meeting new people and running into new situations. And he has his finger on the pulse of the business situation, here in New England, Massachusetts in particular. So we want to take advantage of that. Cliff, what have you got for us this evening on Cliff's Notes?
Well, tonight I'd just like to take a minute and mention that I don't know if you know this or not, but it's a very difficult economy out there. And I've mentioned this little metaphor of mine before, that there's an old expression that a rising tide floats all boats. And I also mentioned that, well, right now the tide's out. It's way out, Bill. And the rocks are showing, and there are shallows everywhere, and you really better know how to sail a boat if you're going to survive in this economy. And having said that, I spend an awful lot of my time with small business people trying to survive this economy or trying to take their business and turn it around. Let me talk about a turnaround. What a turnaround means is a troubled business comes up with a whole new strategy and executes it well and does something to literally turn the fortunes of the business into something that's profitable. Unfortunately, lately, a lot of people are calling my office and coming to visit with me, and the typical thing that I'm seeing is a business that maybe for the last 2 years hasn't done well, that the people have taken their savings and poured it into the business to keep it going. They've maybe taken out a mortgage on their home, an equity on their home, equity mortgage. They maybe have maxed out a few credit cards, and now things are even more difficult in this economy, particularly going into '09. And they want to borrow money, and they want to pour that money into this business to keep it going. Excuse me. That's going to be impossible. I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings, but there is an old joke that Bob Hope put out about 40 years ago that said a bank will loan you money as long as you can prove you don't need it. Cute joke. A bank will loan you money as long as you can show them how you're going to pay them back. Unfortunately, too many business people have not shown the ability to pay anything back in '06 or '07 or '08. And '09 probably is not going to be a really good year for them. And your chances of borrowing money under that circumstances are zero, unfortunately. I did, like I say, be the bearer of bad tidings, but a bank wants to see you develop a business plan and present it, and they want to loan you money. Believe me, they do want, that's how they make their money. But they have a fiduciary responsibility to their people, to the people putting their money in their trust, to make sure that they do get paid back. And believe me, it's 7, 8%, 6%, whatever the rate is on whatever type of mortgage you're going to get or term loan you're going to get, they're not going to get rich. They're not getting rich on the 7%. They're not in the risk business. As I've said before, the risk business is for the 4 Fs. And what are those, Bill? Friends, family, founders, and fools.
And fools.
Those are the people that will take a risk in a business, and those are the people who are going to get the biggest return on a business. It's a difficult economy out there. If you're going to go look to borrow money, make sure your business can show the lender how you're going to pay him back. More important than anything, make sure your business is not bleeding cash every month. Do whatever you have to do to stop the bleeding.
Cliff's advice is so pertinent, because a banker, by definition, is a specialist, is not an imaginative person.
Right.
If you're an imaginative person, which may be you would not be in banking. They have systems and procedures and rules,
right, and regulations.
Whatever. And you go in and you say, I got this great product. I got this audience. I'm going to sell 1 million potatoes. And the banker says, how are you going to pay me back?
That's what they want to know.
End of story.
Right.
And be prepared for that. Don't be disappointed. Don't be surprised. Don't be downcast.
Right.
Be prepared for it.
I agree.
Well, for one thing, is by talking to people like you and get mentally prepared and prepared on paper.
Absolutely. I can help them put the loan package together, but I can't help them put a loan package together.
Also, you got to look at your business. I mean, you may be sold on your business, but who is going to be excited about throwing money into a sinking boat? One that was sailing around to hit the rocks.
That's right. Well, I say to people, would you loan you money?
Yeah. Right.
And I hate to sound cruel, but I mean, it just doesn't work that way.
Anyway, Cliff, thanks for your advice, and we want to move on to the body of the show, which I think you're going to really appreciate. We're going to use as a starting point, thanks to AOL and Entrepreneur.com, we've got a list that is called the 12 Pitfalls of Starting a Business. That's going to be our starting point to get our get thoughts from Cliff on how this works out in the real world. And
when you presented this to me, what did I say? I even wrote it right on the sheet. They gave you an A+.
A+. Oh yeah.
This is good.
A+.
This is really good.
Okay.
I love this.
We're gonna hit you with each one of these, and
Okay.
we're gonna get your commentary as to how this works out in the real world.
Right.
And I'm going to start off with number 1, Cliff, which is buying. Here, get this: buying a job rather than a business. And say, yes, you have to be involved in the daily operations at the start, but remember that the ultimate goal is to grow your business into much more than just a job where you work hands-on every day. Work on the business, not just in the business. So tell us what you've seen, Cliff.
Well, as you said, working on the business instead of just in the business, that's an expression that's now been made famous by Michael Gerber in his seminal work, The E-Myth. It's got to be a 20-year-old book. Let me say this about that. I sound like Forrest Gump. And that's all I have to say about that. No, I have a lot more to say about that. There are 3 reasons you start or buy a small business, not one. It's not to buy yourself a job. Okay, yes, you do need a job. More than likely, you eat every day, you have a mortgage to pay, you have people that rely on you, and you do need a job, and you deserve to be paid for the hours and the effort that you put in to that job. But when you look at a business, and let me give you a recent particular scenario that was brought to my attention. I have somebody that wants to buy a business. They brought the numbers to me. The business is doing $400,000 a year. And the business broker said that there's $40,000 a year of profit in this business. And therefore, this is a business you should buy. When I look at the numbers, there was nothing in there for salary for the owner of that business. In other words, that $40,000 is what was left over for that owner for running the business. Well, that's just buying a job. You need three things when you get a business. Number one, you do need a job, and you should be paid commensurately. Is that a word?
Yes.
Okay, good. You should be paid properly for doing that function. But you should also, for having taken the risk, for having invested the money, for having signed the loan, you should get a profit over and above the salary that you receive from that job. So maybe, yes, you should get a $40,000 salary for running the business, but maybe because you've invested $400,000 in the business, you should maybe get $20 or $30 or $40,000 in profit over and above your salary, right? But there's a third reason. You buy a business because you want to work in the business. You buy a business because you deserve a profit for taking the risk. You also buy a business because this is a business that becomes an asset, and in 20 years, guess what? If it does do the other two things I'm talking about, which is pay you a salary and give you a profit, it's something you can sell. It's an asset that you now can turn around and sell in 20 years and retire to Florida, where it's a lot warmer.
Okay. Well, that's good, and that gets us started. Cliff, let's move on to pitfall number 2. And this is a good one also, which is being a great plumber, but having no idea how to run a business that sells plumbing. Your former jobs are all apprenticeship to running a business. Be an apprentice in all areas, not just the trade or profession itself. More important, be sure you paid attention to all aspects of the business in your past jobs, no matter what they were. So here, you might be a great plumber, but that's plumbing, but that's not necessarily running a business.
Absolutely, and I've said this so many times to people, I don't know how to do plumbing. I don't, believe it or not, even though I have an electrical engineering background, I don't know how to be an electrician. I don't know how to write software. I don't know how to bake pies. I don't have any of those technical skills. There's only one thing I know how to do, and that's run a business. And that's a totally different set of skills. Let's go back to the plumber. The plumber is just a great master plumber, and he's working for somebody else, and he decides he wants to step away and start his own plumbing company. I think that's a wonderful vision. But when you're the guy who's running the plumbing company, you also have the guy who's in charge of creating the customers, which means you're the marketing VP of your company. You're also the sales guy. You're also the operations guy. You're also the finance guy. And there are a myriad of other skills that you need to have to build and run a small business or any business. What happens is, because you have the technical skills doesn't mean you're really prepared to build and run your own business. You are it. You are the Lone Ranger. You're all alone, and you're going to have to build this business and take on all of those functional areas, not just your ability to hook pipes together. There's so much more to running a small business than just being, to use this analogy, a great plumber.
Sure, that was funny, Cliff, you're talking about being the plumber analogy.
Yeah.
We had this summer, during the presidential election cycle, we had somebody called Joe the Plumber from Ohio.
Yeah.
But when the news people who are relentless, went out to Ohio, checked this guy out, found out that, he hadn't paid his taxes and no longer was licensed or something. I don't know, whatever the story was. But
he might have been a good plumber, but he sure in heck wasn't a good business person.
Not much of a business person. Yeah.
Point taken.
Anyway, that was funny. Okay, let's move on to number 3. Pitfall number 3. You're gonna love this.
Yeah.
This is a biggie. Taking on a business partner. I'm laughing because I could. If I took off my shirt, which I'm not going to do, but if I did, I could show you the scars right back here between the 5th and 6th ribs. Taking on a business partner, most people give away equity up front to a partner, maybe too easily or too quickly.
Definitely too easily.
Yes, there are examples of partnerships that work, yes, but most don't. Get that? Most don't.
Right.
Unless you're absolutely sure about your partnership, hire people to help you instead. Yep. Cliff, what do you got to say about that?
When I first bought a small business and was looking to expand it into another city, I made the acquaintance of a guy that I really wanted to work for me. And I went to my attorney and I said, you know, I think I'd like to start a separate division of the company in this town, and I'd like to give this guy a small piece of the business, even though, let's say, I would have owned 80% of the business. And David, my attorney, God rest his soul, he said to me, no, in no uncertain terms. He said, pay the guy, hire the guy, pay the guy, do whatever you have to do. But at this stage, particularly because you've got a fairly successful business going here in one town and you're opening the same business in another town, don't take on a partner. You don't know them that well, and even if you did know them that well, it's a very difficult situation to take on a partner or to start a business with a partner. Most of them fail. Let me say two things. Number one, I don't recommend partnerships to start. But if you're hell-bent on taking or going into business with your partner, even our website has a 28 item list that you should go through with your partner and make sure each one of those items is covered, that who's going to do what, who expects what, and how are we going to resolve certain issues that come up when we disagree, because you will disagree on issues. Now, you think it's difficult to get a divorce? Wait till you take a look at unraveling a partnership in business. It can be 10 times worse. So please, I caution you, if you're going to go into business with a partner, make sure you go in and knowing as much as you can about who is going to be doing what and expecting what from that business, and you got a much better chance of survival. But far too many people just say, this is my friend, we're going into business. Next thing you know, the partnership and the friendship end, and that's not a good thing.
If you don't listen to anything else, if you listen to nothing else, listen to this, what Cliff is saying, because this is so vital. I can't believe it. A partnership is a legal format for forming a business.
Yep.
So is a sole proprietorship, a partnership, or a corporation. Different.
Or an LLC.
LLC. You know, they're different. What you call legal format.
Organizational structures. Yeah.
But you know, it's okay. I mean, if you're going to do this, you can go to to form a corporation, and then you have bylaws, and then you have a board of directors who are outsiders to advise. You also, one of the toughest things also about starting a business is planning the divorce. the minute you get married.
Yep.
Is planning the divorce.
In a business sense,
you think that's tough? That's like a prenup, they say a marriage.
Worse.
But it's if you could have a nickel for every business that got started, even in the corporate formation, if you had a nickel for every one that got started that did not have a buy-sell agreement, you would be a rich person, a very wealthy person. So please listen to this. Please heed this advice. It's very important. Let's move on to number 4, which is starting a business from scratch rather than buying an existing business. Starting from scratch may seem cheap, but it'll cost you the most expensive asset you have, time. Buy an undervalued company and build it up rather than start from scratch or whatever. What's your advice there, Cliff?
I learned that I wouldn't say the hard way, the easy way, quite frankly. I bought an undervalued company, and it was my first company I started from scratch, and that was a battle. That was an uphill battle all the way, and I fought that battle for 3 years, and yes, we were successful doing that, fortunately. And then I had an opportunity to buy a business, an undervalued company in a related business, but not the same business. And I was very fortunate in buying this company and quickly turned it around. The year that I bought the business, it was doing $1.3 million. My very first year in business, I had done $2.4 million and was really on my way. It was a pretty easy process to take an undervalued, underperforming company, apply proper management and sales and marketing and techniques to it, and turn it around very quickly, and it continued to grow to over $20 million over the years. As part of that process, as I added new locations, I would buy other companies and do what's known as a roll-up and turn those companies into profitable centers. I did have an occasion to start one new one in a location. That was an uphill battle all the way because it's a brand new, it's a startup. You have to start from scratch. There's already people servicing that market. You have to take business away from other people. And yes, we were very successful doing it, but as you say, there's only one commodity you can't get back, and that's time. And it took us 3 years really to get that business up and running. Whereas by taking over another company that maybe is underperforming and buying it for less than maybe true value, you can really turn those things around very quickly. So don't look at it and say, well, it's a lot cheaper to start my business from scratch than it is to go buy this company. Not always. Not always. It can be a very, very expensive learning process, if nothing else.
I think this point, Cliff, is we are not, you and I, we are not, let's get this straight. We're not saying don't ever start a business
Absolutely
from scratch.
not.
Nor are we're not saying the only way to business is to buy some other existing. We're not saying that.
Right.
But what we are saying is a reasoned approach is that every business proposition has pros and cons. There's nothing clear cut. That every business decision that you make will probably have a pluses and minuses to look at.
And they have effects on so many other issues within a business. The joint.
That's right. So what you need to do here is that getting a business started, keep an open mind.
Right.
Consider and take a considered approach to looking at start from scratch, or going in and buying it. Don't close your mind to either possibility.
Right.
Be realistic. Get advice.
Yep.
Well, from people like you and
Absolutely.
others like you, who are arm's length, objective advice on this kind of thing. And buying out a business. I mean, either you can approach a business owner by yourself, or you can use an intermediary such as a business broker, and that's a whole other topic. But I'm just saying, in this whole regard, in getting a business started, keep an open mind.
Right. I agree.
Well, you're agreeable tonight. I mean, you're being nice to me.
I'm cold. So I'm trying to warm up. You notice I've got a sweater on? You're a tough guy.
You did. Well, that's right.
I've got a sweater on under this
I'm
thing.
a New Englander.
I am too. I'm a wussy New Englander.
Okay, Cliff, we're going to move on to number 5 of the 12 pitfalls of starting a business. And number 5 is thinking the business idea will make the company. Let's think about it. Thinking that the business idea will make the company. It's the people, stupid.
Right.
The people who make the business successful, not the product, not the service, not the new invention. Focus on building a great company as much as a great product. One time I told you, Cliff, that I don't know. I had reason to look into new product ideas. And, one of the things I stumbled across, this was many years ago, is that large corporations that have tons of people constantly inventing stuff. Now, GE would be an example.
R&D.
I mean, they have a phalanx of people who are constantly turning over, looking at new ideas, new products, and stuff like that. Companies like that actually have a library of ideas, for either product or service or combination, and you can access that kind of list. And what it tells you is that there's no shortage of ideas.
None.
The shortage is in the guts of the people to actually take an idea and start it into a business, develop it into a business.
Right.
True?
Absolutely true. Let me use this as an example. I'm fortunate to be on kind of a board of advisors to the Bay Angels, and these are folks who invest angel funds in primarily technology companies here in southeastern Massachusetts. And there's an expression we all say all the time about investing in some of these companies, these startup companies, that an investor, an equity investor, somebody that puts money into your business and it takes an equity piece of the business, will always bet on a Class A team, even though it's a Class B idea, far before they will bet on a Class B team, even though it's a Class A idea. And the reason being, history shows that Class A team will somehow be able to run, manage, grow that business because they're competent. They know what they're doing, and to go back to my original metaphor, they know how to sail. And they'll take that Class B idea and they'll turn it into a successful business. And somehow it seems that Class A idea with not a Class A team, a Class B team, generally somehow fails in making that a successful business. And a lot of times you'll see the angels and the venture capitalists move into the company and say, we've got to put some people in here who are Class A people and get them running this business and growing this business, because it is, as you said, Bill, the team, the quality of the team,
Right.
the people who are going to make this business fly.
Right.
It's people. It is the people.
And speaking of that team, I mean, they locate that team by looking at these people as to what they've done. Look at track records.
Absolutely.
It's very simple. You call it have done, will do.
Right. Been there, done that.
Been there, and that investor group, they want to say, what have you done? Where have you been? What have you accomplished? And
Yep.
And if you've done it before, the chances are you will do it again. But if you haven't done it before, you represent, a pure risk
Absolutely.
factor.
Yep.
Okay, let's get going on to number 6, which is thinking too small. Number 6, thinking too small. Many startup entrepreneurs want to generate a wage for themselves and nothing more. Limited viewpoint. Instead, aim to build a profit. Aim to build something large. Aim to build something great. If you shoot for the stars, you may fail, but at least you'll make it to the moon, so to speak.
Right.
And I think that's part of that, the E-Myth Gerber.
Right.
In his book, what he talked about is that don't start out with your business like this, thinking
Right.
about acorns. Think about the whole
tree.
The whole tree.
Very
Well,
good.
that's a lousy analogy, but
Okay.
But Cliff, give us your comments on number.
Well, there's there's generally, I could classify businesses as two types. There's lifestyle businesses, which means that it's going to give you some semblance of a lifestyle. It may pay you that salary. It may even turn over a small profit, and in 20 years, maybe you can even sell it for something. And then there's truly entrepreneurial thinkers with a vision for a company, and their vision is very, very vast and very broad, and they're looking to take this company and really grow this company into something big. And don't think too small. Try to think bigger. Think about the bigger picture of your small business. You've heard the expression grow or die. I don't necessarily say grow or die, but please focus on growing your business as something bigger than some just small, focused little niche.
That's great. Well, we better wrap it up, and we will continue this on another show, and finish this off. This is great stuff, Cliff. And we want to wrap up for now and say that if you want to contact us, please feel free to send email to foxrobbins@gmail.com, or you can see our shows on Google or capemedia.org.